We're here with the final tier list of the year, the top 10 tier list for the Legends Festival 2025 Part 3 for the release of Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Here are the rules. Just assume every Legends Limited is at an average of 9 stars, the Ultras at 10 because if you invested in them, you'd get them about there. Sparkings can be at 14 because they're easy to Z-power, and this is a meta tier list, so it's considering all the factors, teams, elements, how they synergize well with each other, not just if this character is better than this character. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's get into this. So if this is your first time watching a tier list from me, we always start from the fan service, then go into honorable mention, then count our way up to number 1. The fan service is literally just characters people like. They have no necessary value. They might be good, but they're not making a top 10 or honorable mention. And because I make the tier list on stream, a lot of the viewers decide who's going to go into honorable mentions. So we got to give some characters screen time that usually wouldn't be spoken about in a normal tier list. So shout out to the boys, Super Saiyan 2 GOHAN, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. GT's popping right now, but nobody's really going to run G4. Ultra Super Saiyan Goku is actually pretty decent, but you know, not making top 10 this time. We got Ultra Margin Vegeta clan going up based on Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta existence, etc, etc. But we're not going to spend too much time on these guys. Maybe next time if you want a character to just make some screen time, come to the stream. Anyways, we got the honorable mentions. These guys are right outside of the top 10, and this list was so tight that I even had to put an 11th spot because I was that like, this could go this way, this could go that way. But these guys, they're just right outside. So maybe for you, they could be top 10, but for me, nah, not going to be. Of course, not everybody's gonna like this list completely, but I think for the most part, it's definitely accurate and I am confident in this list. So guys like, for example, Future Gohan, I will speak on this later, but I genuinely think, and I know it's not gonna sound crazy, it's gonna sound crazy because you haven't seen it yourself or tested it, but on Hybrid Saiyans, there's no other team that can do more damage right now in the game than Hybrid Saiyans. You might be thinking, what's this guy talking about? You just have to see it. I was even proven wrong because I didn't believe it. Someone came into my chat talking about some Hybrid Saiyans, build this team, shout out Shadu. I had to do the work, bro. I was completely shook. Other choices like Merge Zamasu and CMZ, powerful opponents, they could be used as an extra third for GT here. This is a third for Hybrid Saiyans, absolutely nuts. Super 17 for GT and powerful opponent. You see the gist here for the honorable mentions. They're just right outside, but you could be using them and still get good results out of them, but they're not making my top 10. Let's actually get into the top 10 now. Okay, so we have the number 10 and 11. We've got Legends Limited Super Janemba and Legends Limited Super Vegeta with his Zenkai. You can go either way here, so it's not that Janemba's per se better than Super Vegeta and not that Super Vegeta's per se better than Janemba. I just like putting things in color order, you know, you can see that already. Anyways, I'm gonna start with Super Janemba. Super Janemba, he's that powerful opponent that's going to be going against the best teams in the game. Powerful opponent is a very good team, but of course it's not on the best half of good teams because you'd have to be going against the typical Sun Family Saiyan. You know what you guys are seeing in PvP based on the newest releases. So naturally, he's not going to be a popular pick, but trust me, if you come up against Super Janemba and he builds himself up correctly, the green card into the blue card, getting his Vanish Restore back, he is dangerous. He also has endurance that actually helps out a lot. Having survivability in any circumstance helps out a lot, but he's on the lower end mainly because of his element. I feel like if he was a different element, he'd be so much more valuable. He could be a top 5, top 6 standard if he was purple right now potentially, because he would be countering a lot of good units in the game right now. Super Gogeta, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but you could say that could also be a downside for him because of the yellows in the meta, but I feel like the yellows are less punishing right now than the greens. So yeah, overall, he's a good unit, but he's more on the back end. He's also not as popular, so people are going to use him less. But trust me, if you see one Janemba in PvP, you will be shook, especially on a powerful opponent build because there are a lot of good powerful opponents right now. Super Vegeta, he's also gaining stock in a way, but he's more on the outskirts as well, but he's fitting more towards the actual meta. So a lot of people are going to be using Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta because of GT, so Super Vegeta could fit in there with the Zenkai Bus buffing 2 of the Vegetas. You could also run him on Cell Saga alongside Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and form a team like that. Saiyans in general could also use Super Vegeta if you needed a third, but he's definitely not the strongest third. His build up is pretty good. You can be really techy with him with his Vanish Restore, and he can do a good amount of damage, but he's not going to be your first line pick or anything like that. So overall, good pick, but not your best pick, which is why they're on the lower end, but they kind of fill a similar role as per their teams, which is why they're so close at 10 and 11. Super Vegeta and Legends Limited Super Janemba. Next up, we've got Legends Limited Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now he's here for two main reasons. The first one is his element. Because he's purple, he's a very good unit to go against the meta. Two big players in the meta right now, Super Saiyan 4 Goku alongside fusing Super Gogeta. So naturally he's going to be a foe against those guys offensively and defensively. Especially with his death counter, he can do a lot of damage if any of those guys take him out, because those guys will be being used on the battlefield a lot. But the second reason is that he's a major supportive role in the game right now. GT is easily one of the best teams in the game, and people are going to be running Super Saiyan 4 Goku based on him being the newest release, but he's also very good. But this guy actually adds a lot to the team. I think, if I'm not mistaken, for GT members specifically, he gives 15%, and for any allies, he gives an extra 25%. That's a good amount of damage to add on top of your GT members that are already doing crazy numbers. And you already need a GT member to make Super Saiyan 4 Goku be the best he can be, which makes Super Saiyan 3 Goku very valuable to add into your team. Any situation that you're using GT is very good. But not just that, of course, you can run him on Saiyans and still get the benefits of the ally damage. So supporting in general is very good, and people don't want to take him out too early because he can do a lot of damage to the enemy team, especially late game as well. If he's not the last one alive, which he shouldn't be in most cases, he will do that AoE damage on his deathbed, which is very, very useful. The chat actually propped him up a lot, and at first I wasn't really leaning to him because he's not a very popular unit, but it turns out he's actually a very popular unit, just not in standard. More time you're going to see him in Proud. He's always on a 6-man in Proud, and that buff that he gives his teammates is very, very valuable. You will see him on standard here and there as a 3rd man, but there are other better 3rd man options, especially because the leader slot's available. But in Proud, you're going to need a 6-man team, so he's going to make that appearance, which is why he snuck his way up to 9. But if it wasn't for the Proud standard of people actually using him and showing his value, I wouldn't have him on the list. But even though this list is mainly aligned with standard, I still think it's worth it to have him on the list, because if you did use him, you would still get that value while increasing the value of other units such as Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, the main guys on GT, and even any other units such as Super Saiyan 2 Gohan that you just want to put on the team, because he's still going to be supporting them while being a purple unit to counter the meta in a sense. Hopefully that makes sense. We've got Super Saiyan 3 Goku at number 9. Next up, we got Legends Limited Super Baby 2 with his Zenkai. Now this guy's here for two reasons as well, but his reasons are a bit more valuable in comparison to Super Saiyan 3 Goku, especially for standard rules. Now with Super Baby 2, his main thing is his gauge. It's going to break combos and be very effective that way. He can also output a lot of damage, especially on powerful opponent. So the first thing is that he's on powerful opponent, his team value. Powerful opponent and GT, one of the very valuable teams in PvP, GT especially, but powerful opponent is like the anti-meta side, so it's going against the typical units that you'd see, like I mentioned earlier when talking about Super Janemba. We've got GT, which he's actually on as well, but we've also got Sun Family, Saiyans, etc. You guys see that Super Baby 2, he's going to be like a 3rd man on the team. I'm not expecting him to be 1st line or 2nd line on the team, but he is still very valuable and he does a lot of damage. He's also defensively sound, so overall he's going to give you what you need on the battlefield to really get yourself that edge against anybody that you're facing. If you did want to one powerful opponent, he's going to be extremely core. He's going to be 2nd or 1st string on that team. He's going to be the 1st or 2nd person you're going to choose to run your powerful opponent team. But on GT, he's a very solid 3rd if you wanted to round off the whole team. And because he's over a year old, I think from this point on, he's gonna have most people having him at high stars. So that also allows him to show his worth more than anything else. It's kind of like, because he's an older unit, he gets more value because of that, given that they've buffed him up now, but also he's just very good all around. I'm not propping him to be extremely great or anything, but he is a unit that you could come across in PvP, and he's going to inconvenience you a lot because of his disrupt, and you don't want to deal with that. Also, if that lock-in ult catches you, pretty big problem you have to deal with there. So he's our number 8 pick, Legends Limited Super Baby 2. So at number 7 and 6, had to say it backwards so the kids don't go, we've got Ultra Instinct Goku and Fusion 13, the Legends Limited. Now these two are in the same position, and I got them here tied because one is losing value and one is gaining value. Can you guess who's who? I'm gonna tell you anyways. Fusion 13 is gaining value, while Ultra Instinct Goku is losing value. How is that? Well, first off, let's start with Ultra Instinct Goku. Ultra Instinct Goku, not even a meta ago, was in top 2, top 3 talks because of his platinum equipment, obviously, and his no switching ability is very, very valuable. But that's about it at this point. When everybody is doing insane amount of damage, it's just not safe to use him. He also can't snipe people because of how much buff cancellation exists in the meta. So even though he can take out a lot of people, he's not going to kill them. He's gonna take out the endurance and that's it. You know, he's gonna take them out. Their first life he's gonna take out, not literally take them out. And that is a real downer for him because he can't really shine the way he wants to. Also, Saiyan teams really just could use somebody else over him. There are better team compositions than him, but it's not that he's bad. He's still top tier, but it's really more of a choice to use him than a need to use him. So if you didn't have one of the top Saiyans like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, then maybe you'd pick up UI. Even Super Saiyan Goku, or you could go leader slot way with Gohan. There are options that are just better than him to basically make his value not so much so. It's not that he's bad, it's just that there's better options, so that's why he's going down. With Fusion 13, he's streamlining core on powerful opponent, which is very, very valuable. You could also say he's very valuable on sagas from the movies, but that team just isn't being run as much because it doesn't include core units, and the way the team synergizes, so I'm talking about powerful opponents right now, it's just better for him in general based on characters I've shown. So for example, Super Baby 2 and Super Janemba, with that type of team you can run blue and yellow, right? Blue double yellow, and the blue protects the yellow from reds because blue is type advantage over red, and then you can give the yellows hella Zenkai buffs, and that blue would be safe. They'd have to avoid the greens obviously, but that's what the yellows are for, so it'll be a type neutral battle. But because they've got so many Zenkai buffs, you would be completely fine, and the team synergizes well. It heals a lot. You got the second lives, the buff cancellation, the endurance. There's a lot going on that powerful opponent team that can get you places, and that's not even including the ones on the honorable mentions. If you sleep for a little bit, they will catch you off guard. So that's how Fusion 13 and Ultra UI kind of meet at the 7 and 6 spot. It's not necessarily that I think one is per se better than the other. If I had to choose one individually, I'd probably go UI Goku, but because of the way the meta is forming, I don't feel like UI is increasing in value. He's only pushing out of the meta, versus Fusion 13, he's retaining his value as powerful opponents get pushed into the meta. For example, Super Baby 2 getting his Zenkai. That's the 7 and 6 spot. Let's move on to the 5th, the top 5. This is where things get really tough. For a top 5 unit addressing Ultra Super Saiyan Goku, he's easily the most disappointing unit on the list right now. And I say that because of how much value he had in the last part. He is losing value at a rapid rate, but still good enough to be more than Ultra UI Goku. Now, I've come into this part of the video in a very negative tone, and that's really because people are still using him with the idea that the KO guard is more valuable than full synergetic, full chemistry teams. And I really need that narrative to die, because it worked in part 2, but it's almost as if overnight things changed, which they did. GT as a whole team is a lot more optimal than running Super Saiyan Goku's KO guard. But that's not to take away from Goku's KO guard, it's simply something is better. KO guard is still crazy, but Super Saiyan Goku is a bit more of a liability right now. He still has all his value, the things that we propped in the part 2. The fact that he has the no switching, which can easily get you a kill. The fact that he can start combos easily, the explosive green. But because GT is reliant on having at least 2 members, so Super Saiyan 4 Goku, he's going to need endurance, right? And he can only get that endurance and the buff cancellation if there's another GT member. You'd obviously run Super Saiyan 4 Goku with the best GT partner available, which is naturally Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. That means every time you come across Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you're gonna come across a red. And that means Super Saiyan Goku is liable to get one tapped, especially by the switch attack. You need to be very careful. Now, if he gets one tapped, what's the point of the KO guard? There's literally no point. It's gonna get one tapped. So now you just have to fight him with Super Saiyan Goku, as in you fight Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, without your KO guard and just the yellow. There's pretty much less usage of the KO guard unless you play really crafty, and putting yourself in a vulnerable position like that just isn't worth it. It's also just less synergetic, I think this is the best word to use, to run Super Saiyan Goku alongside the GT guys when you could just run a better unit such as Gohan, if you had him of course. So that's why he's at a number 5, where considering in the last meta he was easily a top 3 unit. So he's moving down in value, but do not get it twisted because I came into this with a negative perspective. It's literally just the truth. Super Saiyan Goku is still crazy, but it's just that there are better units and he needs to be very careful about that one red that can snipe him very easily. He is a weaker unit on this list defensively, considering he released in the 7th anniversary, and the fact that he's even top 5 on this list right now is a true compliment to him, because look where Freezer is. Freezer's not making it, you know what I'm saying? The roles have reversed very quickly because of how KO Guard can complement Son Family Saiyans, etc. So props to him at number 5, but he's not getting it any higher than this right now for those reasons that I just stated. Now at number 4 here, we have Legends Limited Fusing Super Gogeta. This unit lost a lot of value in part 2, contrast to Super Saiyan Goku, who gained a lot of value in part 2, and now Super Gogeta is gaining a lot of value in part 3, contrast to Super Saiyan Goku, who's losing value in part 3. The reason why Super Gogeta can be this high is because, in my opinion, but a lot of people will agree to this, especially when you hear my explanation, he is the best anti-meta unit available. Now first, you need to hear what meta means. A lot of you guys don't actually know what that means. Meta stands for most effective tactic available. And in that case, you're gonna run GT, most likely with Gohan. That's probably the best available tactic you can use. But the meta can also mean other teams that are available, so best tactics available. Now, if you want to go against the meta, which would be the best team, what would you do? 2 of the units on the best team and units that surround that best team have endurance, and fusing Super Gogeta is going to be the best unit to counter that. Why? Because every time he enters the battlefield, he can nullify endurance, and it's for a long time. I think it's 10 time accounts, which means if you don't want games to drag on, using Super Gogeta to snipe people is very, very important. Let me also add that his green card increases sub counts for the enemy, so if you wanted to snipe them then, there's no way they could escape, which means with the best units in the game right now, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, other units with endurance that are available, we got Janemba, even if you want to run Bomku in the honorable mentions, we got Goku and Hit, Future Gohan, you got a lot of units with endurance right now. They can get taken out by the one and only fusing Super Gogeta. He also has the Disrupt pre-transform, which in my opinion is very, very underrated. Having that Disrupt can be a lot more valuable than just having endurance out off rip, in my opinion. Of course, if you get sniped, it's a whole different deal, but there's no major purple players besides from maybe Legends Limited Super Saiyan 3 Goku. You could argue Goku and Hit, they are an honorable mentions, but they're still very dangerous offensively. You're just not going to see them that much, so there's no real reason to fear them. It's not that those units aren't good, you're just not going to see them as much. So Gogeta can do what he can do as a green unit and help out any team that he's on. I will also add that because he's green, he can share the same Zenkai buffs as Super Saiyan 4 Goku, so if you're running to run a double green comp, that can be very effective. And I found in my personal experience of using Gogeta alongside Super Saiyan 4 Goku, because Gogeta has the fusion, he's going to get a full bar of health after transforming, right? If he gets Rising Rushed, he will live. Why? Because of Goku's Rising Rush disrupt mechanic. So then you can fuse after, and it's as if you have endurance. It's like you're creating your own endurance if you're running him with Goku. But even if you're not, he can counter Goku because he's the best unit to nullify endurance. That's really what's stamping his value, plus being on Saiyan's movies, you know, Son Family as well, because he's fusing Super Goji and even Vegeta Clan. So much versatility for this unit, definitely deserving of the top 4 position. And some of you guys might think Super Saiyan Goku should go higher, but really I disagree. It really just using Super Saiyan Goku for his KO guard at this point, and if you're coming up against a GT team, you will see how vulnerable Super Saiyan Goku is. So yeah, let's get into the number 3 spot. Right, so I thought it would just be best to explain the 1, 2, and 3 position altogether. I'm actually not going to talk about Vegeta much because it will be explained when I talk about Goku, and then I'm going to talk about Gohan. But first, I will say that the Gohan and Goku in 1 and 2 is not in order, it's just interchangeable. So if you wanted to have Goku at number 1, that's completely fine. I'm not arguing with you. If you wanted to have Gohan at number 1, that's completely fine. I just do this color order thing: blue, green, purple, yellow, red. That's the way the devs do it, so I just do it like that as well. But overall, I think as long as they're 1 and 2, it's fine. I am not in agreement with having one strictly number 1 because it's per situation, and in most cases they're going to be run together anyways, attributing equal value on the same team. Anyways, Vegeta, I'm not going to talk about him much, like I said. Let's talk about Goku first, because there's a lot to go in with him considering he's the newest unit, but he is the top of the game. Goku, his only issue is he's reliant on having another GT member. And in meta terms, it's not really an issue because his best teammate is going to be a GT member anyways. Of course, if he wasn't restricted, I think he would be outrightly number 1 in the game potentially. But because he is GT restricted, that naturally boosts up the second best GT unit available in the game. And that is definitely not, you know, Super Baby 2, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. It's 100% Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, which is why Vegeta makes his way up here. You will never, and if you do see, you will see that Goku is not really a threat, but you will never see a competent team that doesn't have Super Saiyan 4 Goku alongside Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. And the way they bounce off each other is insane. Red and green are very good colors for each other. Green protects red from blues because green is type advantage over blue. And that means Vegeta can run safely because Goku is there to protect him. E.g., if Gohan's on the battlefield, Vegeta is still fine because Goku's on his way. Then you add in what Goku does individually. Goku has endurance, the anti-rising rush mechanic, so if Vegeta gets rushed, well, he's being saved. He also has the crazy disrupt. You switch into Goku, after 3 cards your combo's getting cut. You can hit a blue card, sure, but that blue card is going to end your combo, so if it's not killing, which it won't because he has buff cancellation, you are good. You're still good. Overall, some crazy damage. You can't really cover change when you're fighting Goku for that first time because he's going to output a crazy amount of switch damage. That is nuts in itself. So Goku and Vegeta synergizing like this keeps Goku at the top of the game because he's also protecting somebody, and then that Vegeta is also going to be countering units that would be usually run with Gohan. For example, UI Goku, the KO guard, which have lost value in this meta, this part 3. But Gohan, being as amazing as he is, so now let's talk about Gohan. Having the revival, being element blue, being Son family, and even if you scrap all of that, he's still insane because you can just put him on the leader slot with Goku and Vegeta on GT, forming what most people would agree is the best team in the game. Gohan has versatility because he can fit everywhere. And there was the argument I was holding before by saying, well, Gohan shouldn't be number 1 because the GT team has to come as a pair. So it's kind of in a sense of Gohan and whatever team you can fit him on best, or Goku and Vegeta who have the pair. Originally, I had Goku and Vegeta, Goku number 1 and Gohan and Vegeta number 2, 3, because Vegeta has to be paired with Goku. So Gohan's going to be 3rd string in a sense because this is like a duo. Obviously, Vegeta is still a unit, so he's 1 tier down below. But I changed my mind because I was shown a hybrid Saiyan team with the manga Gohan and future Gohan. And I kid you not, you just gonna have to take my word for it or try it out yourself. Maybe I'll put it on the screen right now. The team Gohan can do most damage on is hybrid Saiyans, and that's definitely rooted in the equipments for that team. I don't think it's outwardly the best team in the game, but it's a good enough team and a really good enough team to compete against the likes of Son Family, GT, and Saiyans without difficulty. It's obviously to a degree Star Reliance, or Future Gohan is like a 2-3 year old unit, so most people are gonna have him high stars, but Manga Gohan isn't, and his healing potential, supportive layer potential, disrupt is very, very good. So pairing those guys with the equipments the way the hybrid Saiyans have the best equipment in the game, you will get the highest peaks for Gohan. And don't think it's just Gohan carrying that team. I need to make it a very important thing to be stated. Gohan, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, isn't carrying that team. That team has complete synergy, 100% chemistry. Try it out if you don't believe me. I tried it out on stream. I was not a believer of that team. Shardul, like I mentioned earlier, came into my stream and said, run hybrid Saiyans. It's just that nobody's running it. It's actually an insane team. And I started slamming every meta team without difficulty. It was actually outrageous. So yeah, only because he can do the highest amount of damage in the game do I think Gohan deserves to be pushed up to number 1. Otherwise, if that hybrid Saiyan that I speak about that you might not believe me about doesn't exist, he would be, in my opinion, number 2/3 with Vegeta, because Goku needs Vegeta. It's to the point where I don't even consider them separate units. It's like they're tied at the hip. You're not seeing Super Saiyan 4 Goku without Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and if you do, it's an incompetent team. But that pretty much finishes off my tier list with Goku and Gohan at 1 and 2. We've got Vegeta at 3. And then you see the rest. Pretty solid in my opinion. That's going to be the end of the video. Because I made this tier list on stream, no real need to think about it afterwards. I usually do like a reflection segment where I look at the tier list and think if there's anything I would change. But like I said, I'm quite confident in this tier list and I had a lot of time to do that on stream. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the tier list, if you'd have anything different. But overall, I think it's pretty perfect and it's a representation of what you'd see in ranked PvP. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.